My theme for this weekend, February the 6th, for us to think about, is a theme that comes through the scriptures of this Sunday, which is the theme of holiness. The prophet Isaiah talks about it, and so does St. Peter. When he first encounters Jesus, he's been fishing all night long, hasn't caught anything. And then at Jesus' behest, he goes back into his boat, and suddenly there's so much fish coming that his boat is actually sinking, and he is not so much amazed at the fish. That's where we get confused here. It's not the fact that there's a lot of fish. He's absolutely astounded by the mystery of God. What happens to Isaiah today? The first reading for this Sunday. In the year that King Uzziah died, I, Isaiah, had an experience of the holiness of God. Now he describes it in very strange and funny language. I saw the Lord sitting on a throne, high and lofty. His robe filled the temple. There were angels around in attendance with many wings and so on. And they were all screaming, "Holy, holy, holy." That's where we got the prayer at church, of course, from Isaiah chapter 6 here. Holy, 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 the Lord of hosts. The earth is full of his glory. We say it at church every Sunday, but many of us don't even pay attention to it at all. And then it goes on to say, "Woe is me, I am lost, a man of unclean lips." Holiness is what I'd like you to think about this week. Holiness is not a quality like, for example, some people are humble, some people are generous, some people are nice, and some people are holy. No, it's not what it is at all. Holiness does not mean that. Holiness is, you might say, an anti-value in the sense that it's the we don't say anti-value, but it's not a value like humility or goodness. Holiness actually means completely different from anything you can imagine. That's what it means. So in a sense, it's all the beautiful qualities, joyfulness, goodness, kindness, all packed in together, but it's none of them. Holiness means unimaginable, beyond anything I can imagine, beyond something I could even fathom. That's the beginning of what holiness means. And unless as Catholics we get a grasp on that, we very quickly fall into what I call superficial religion, and that is deadly. To go through the motions of saying my prayers, to go through the motions of saying things and doing religious activities, and not being profoundly moved by the complete otherness of God, and allowing myself to be disposed to that. So we say funny things like, God helped me today. The Lord was by my side today. Now, it's nice to say it, but it's absolutely absurd to say something like that, if you think about it. Because it's not just that God is by your side today. God is the very ground of your being. You wouldn't even exist if God was not breathing life into you. You might say God is the very breath of existence itself. It's hard for us to get a grasp on that, because you have to be contemplative to really pick up on that. You have to be connected to the still point of silence. In Christian metaphysics, which flows from Aristotelian metaphysics, in Christian metaphysics, just a fancy term that means that the beginning of the Christian life is to be aware of being. What do I mean by that? The fundamental metaphysical question is, why is there something rather than nothing? Why is there matter around me? Homes, planets, moon, sun. Why is there something rather than nothing? Because obviously the things around us don't create themselves. Some people might say, well, yeah, of course, everything's made up of atoms and electron shells and neutrons and all that kind of stuff. Well, you haven't understood the question. You have not understood what I just said. See, even electron shells and neutrons and protons and alpha particles, all that somehow is sustained in existence. Why is there existence at all? That's the basic question of holiness, see? Why is there something rather than nothing at all? Oddly, some of the people who are closest to this mystery are, and I give two examples. One is people in the Buddhist tradition. I mean, true Buddhists, who spend endless hours in complete silence and detachment, in stillness at the still moment, trying to live the very moment right now. Because the reason that they're close to God is because God right now, at this very instant, at this moment, right now is creating and sustaining everything that exists. Okay, so many Catholics have it backwards. They say, well, God created the world. No, that's not what we mean at all. What we mean is, right now, God is creating the world, and every instant is in his hands. And the only way we can pray is to stop, pay attention, and be there. Interesting enough, I mentioned Buddhist monks, but the other people who are very close to this are Alzheimer's patients and dementia patients. And these last number of years, I've been profoundly moved by that experience, because these individuals have been brought down to the still point of this moment. They remember nothing of what passed 5 minutes ago, and they have no idea what's happening in a few minutes. So they're just present right now, paying attention to what's there now, not aware what it is, but they're there. And so the holiness of God is the complete otherness of God, who right now in this very moment is holding us in existence. So when do you experience that? You can't control it. That's the mystery of God. You can't control it. You'll be walking down the street and all of a sudden feel just overwhelmed with inner peace and joy. That's God. That's God's action. Or you might be listening to a violin concerto. I happen to be, of course, enamored by that. So I might be looking at a Bruch or Sibelius violin concerto, and in the midst of it, just be transported into ecstasy outside of myself. There's a beginning of the experience of the holiness of God. Or you might be walking through the mountains and just feel suddenly the stillness of mystery. Now we're touching the holiness of God. Because God is utterly different from us. And only the dead will ultimately see God, because they've moved out of our existence, in material existence, into something very much different. Oh, I don't think I've explained things well at all. I hope it's been of some help. But it's absolutely crucial for us as Christians to move into a yearning for the holiness of God. And of course, it's very often through contemplative prayer and silence each day that we can experience that. But we cannot control it. The holiness of God is the inner quality of God, completely different. And he touches us when he wants. But that's the ground of healthy and authentic Catholicism, is the experience of the holiness of God. And sometimes we experience that through great pain when we lose somebody we love and we say, where is he? We've touched something of the mystery of existence in that. Or it might be sometimes in the birth of a baby. It's not so much the birth of the baby that's surprising, but the utter mysterious wonder of life's existence. That's what happened to Isaiah, and that's what made him a prophet who was willing to give his life in the name of God. That's what happened to St. Peter when he was catching his fish. And it was not the fish that attracted him. It was the amazing mystery of just seeing something overwhelming happen in his life. God is holy. We need to ask the Holy Spirit to draw us into that circle of dance, the mysterious existence of God. So I wish you a great week. And may you, in the moments of your day, stop and pause every so often, just a little pause. Just be present to the moment. Breathe deeply and say, Lord, touch me with your holiness. And He will. Great week, everybody. God bless you.